Hey everybody, we're back with another player guide, and today's character is going to be King Dedede, the Emperor Penguin of Smash. King Dedede first made his appearance in Smash Bros. Back in Smash Bros. Brawl. He stayed with the game in Smash 4 and is back for Smash Ultimate. This character I really wouldn't consider super high tier or even remotely close to high tier. He probably falls kind of mid tier to maybe bottom mid tier, but just because he's the low to mid tier doesn't mean he's necessarily a boring character to play. In fact, he's quite fun to play against. He's very meme worthy, has tons of interesting combos and interesting setups and moves. So today we're going to cover that all in this video. If you want to skip ahead to the combo portion, I'm going to leave a timestamp right here for you guys. But for everybody else, let's continue with the guide. With most of my guides, I like to start off with really basic stuff like tilts, jabs, and even the dash attack. So we're going to cover that first. Dedede is a pretty solid jab. It's a little slow, it comes out at frame 10, so it's definitely not the fastest jab, but it can easily rack up 20 to 30% if you can space it properly and do it correctly. So let's just show that really quick. And all you have to do is just really hold A. Once you tap A once, it does the rest for you. So if you get that first hit, everything else connects very easily, which is nice. Let me make sure I have stale vault, yeah. Way better to have that on, at least for this version. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Dedede's dash attack. Dedede's dash attack is insane. I don't know if it's the strongest dash attack in the game, but it's definitely a contender because this move can kill as early as 70% on a lot of characters. So I'm going to show you what it looks like right here. The only downside is it's incredibly slow. I believe it comes out at around, I believe it's 26. Yeah, frame 26, which is it's horrible. You'll see what I mean here in a sec because you'll basically be able to watch him leave his feet before he ever even strikes the opponent. So here's what it looks like. Super easy to read and predictable, just be careful. But it is good for catching rolls. So here's how much damage it can do. It does around 20% if you space it properly. But if you are unable to hit the first initial fall down animation, you can still hit your opponent with kind of, I guess, him skirting towards the opponent, like him sliding into it. It won't do as much damage or as much knockback, but it's still nice to be able to know that even if you do miss the initial hit, at least you have something else to fall back on. Okay, so let's cover Dedede's tilts. Dedede's tilts they're okay. He needs them, to be honest. A lot of his moves are incredibly slow, but his tilts are probably some of his faster moves, which is what you'll be relying on if you need to get in close to somebody, because you can't just be swinging this massive hammer around all the time, because it just takes so long to actually do everything. But his tilts are pretty solid. This is his up tilt. Comes out at around frame 7, and it can actually be used as a kill option too. A lot of people like to suck up their opponent and then basically once they're in the stomach of King Dedede, instead of actually shooting them out or anything, they basically pop out from above him from mashing and he can then up tilt them. And up tilting at around 130 can get a kill, which is pretty nice. Dedede's down tilt is, I believe, his fastest move. I might be wrong, his nair might be his fastest move, but his down tilt has a little funny animation for the startup. If you can just hold down, Dedede will lay on the ground and make a smug face, basically taunting your opponent. Usually this causes people to run in because they get aggravated or irritated with this face, which is good because then you can follow up with a down tilt, which it's got pretty good spacing and it's kind of fast, which is nice. And Dedede's side tilts, which is just his mallet that he ends up kind of hitting his opponent with. It's important to note that even if you aren't able to space the mallet head properly for the initial hits, that's okay. Dedede's arm as well as the handle of the mallet also have hitboxes, so you don't need to properly space this because you will eventually get all the hits you need regardless of where you actually use the move at, which is nice. Basically, it can reward you if you don't space properly. Let's cover some of Dedede's throws now. Dedede has throws that are basically typical for what you see in most heavies. They can do pretty good damage and some occasionally land into combos. So this is the first that we're going to cover. It's forward throw. It's just a solid forward toss basically. You can't do any follow-ups. It's but it does about 12 to 13% usually, depending. I've seen it do a little bit more than 12.6, so I'm not sure how it really determines the damage output, but usually it's around 12 to 13. Up throw is also very because there really isn't many combos. The best thing I can say about up throw is that at least you can put your opponent above you so that you can then follow up hopefully with something else. But it is one of the weaker moves that he has for the throws. His down throw is one of his better ones. Despite it only doing 7.5, it's the one that can lead into most follow-ups and combos, which is one you're going to be seeing a lot more in the video. And there's back throw, which is his strongest throw. Does 16.3, very good, solid move. It can kill around 150, I guess, but most people don't make it that far against Dedede. I believe forward throw can also kill around that percent too, but once again, Dedede has no problem killing opponents because he hits so hard. With Dedede having 5 jumps to use in Smash Bros, it should come as no surprise to you that he likes to play in the air, which is good because his aerials are above average, I believe. So Dedede's aerials are good for what they need to be, I suppose. His best aerial, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, is his neutral air. Looks a lot like this. He looks like a happy little penguin whenever he's just kind of flying in the air. But this move is incredibly good. Not only does it come out at frame 7, which is a pretty fast move, but it has 2 different hitboxes. One, which is up close, does around 15, or I thought it did 15. Maybe not. Maybe it's on the head. Oh yeah. If you hit the opponent in the head, it does more damage anyway, so if you can hit your opponent in the head with that move, it'll do around 15. Otherwise, I guess it does 12. But the move is really good because not only does it have good frame data and pretty decent knockback if you can do it right on your opponent, but it also has a lingering hitbox. So as you see, when Dedede does it, the first initial hit is the one that does the most damage. However, despite Dedede having a very, very slow airspeed, he has a very good fall speed, which is nice because you can then wait out your opponent. Maybe you can make them think that you're going to land and they try to grab or something, and you can just stall it out. But then you can then hit your neutral air and fall on them, and it won't do too much damage or cause too much knockback, but it can set them in positions where you can then follow up with other stuff, which is awesome. Dedede really needs that. Next move we're going to talk about is his up air. I think up air is phenomenal for what it is. It's a little bit slow on the startup, but it's still a decent move. Why I think it's actually a solid move is because it does around 15%, which is, it's not bad for an aerial, but if your opponent tries to air dodge this, there's still a good chance that you can catch them because it has multiple hitboxes. And a few people even like to use it for drag downs, which I suppose you could do, but I typically don't do that. You could also use it as a falling move if you really want to. As a falling up air, it'll get the first hit and really just do about 1%, but it does put your opponent in a state where then you can follow up with other stuff, which is okay. And then we're going to talk about our forward and our back air as well as our down air. Let's start with back air. Back air is it's one of his strongest moves. It's also deceptively it has deceptive reach, which is really nice. I believe it can kill around 80, but we'll put him to 85. This is back air. It has around 20% if you can hit it just dead on with the mallet. And you can space it properly and not have to worry about your opponent like coming in on you and basically punishing you for trying it. It is a little slow. I believe it comes out at around frame 17 or 16. Yeah, 17. But it kills ridiculously early, especially for an aerial. Next, we're going to talk about the forward air, which is also another one of Dedede's better moves, mainly because he can wall out his opponent very well with it. It is a combo move too. You can do plenty of throws into it. But usually, what people like to do is they'll get their opponent off ledge, and they'll just keep swinging that big hammer till they get the kill. It's kind of slow, but it's still a pretty decent move. And last, we're going to talk about our down smash, the slowest of all the aerials, or at least all of Dedede's aerials. This one comes out at 22, but what makes it good is the fact that it not only has a spike, but it can kill ridiculously early as well too. If you can hit the mallet correctly, it can kill even without having the spike. It's just important to remember that because of how slow it is, if you're challenging someone in the air with it, you're probably going to lose. But it's always nice to get one of those big beefy Dedede spikes with it. If I can. I guess Corn won't let me, but that's fine. Dedede has some pretty insane smash attacks. Now, they're not very fast, but they are so strong and can kill ridiculously early. One in particular isn't super slow, so it kind of makes up for it, but you'll see what I mean here in a sec. So I'm going to show you what his smash attacks do uncharged and fully charged as requested by one of you. So let's start with up smash. Up smash does around 20 not charged and around 28 fully charged. This is down smash. I believe it also does around, I might have charged that a little bit. I think it does around 16. Yeah, 16. And fully charged, it does around 22. That's one of the faster ones right there. The up smash one comes out at frame 17, which is, it's pretty slow. But down smash does come out at frame 12, and it covers his backside as well. So if you do happen to have your opponent roll on you when you're doing it, because it's slow, you can at least cover the roll with that. And then we're going to talk about the forward smash. This is forward smash uncharged. Now, when you're doing this move, it is important to remember of how you actually use a hammer. You do not use a hammer with the handle. You are not hitting a nail with the handle of a hammer. You are using the hammer head. So when doing this, try your best to hit your opponent with the star on Dedede's hammer. If that's kind of like a good reference point to go off of, I suppose. So here's what it looks like, uncharged. Around 31. Try that again just in case I didn't space that properly. 31. Here's what it looks like when it's fully charged. It should do around 44 or 45. And it almost killed at 0. The other ones will not kill that early, but this one is just ridiculous. So at 12%, a fully charged DDD hammer can kill. Now, you're not going to have an opponent just let you do that to them or walk into it and say, alright, go ahead and forward smash me. However, Dedede also has one good thing going for him, and that most of his smash attacks do crazy amounts of shield damage. So if you can smash your opponent's shield, you can then follow up with a very slow smash attack that can most likely take your opponent out. Now, it's around 80%, I believe. I'm going to put it to 85 just to make sure for the other ones to kill, but that's still pretty good when it comes to killing your opponent. So here's fully charged. There's not so fully charged. And here's that one. And this one. And believe it or not, there are ways to combo those, or at least make those combo enders. I'm going to cover that in the combo portion, so make sure you guys stick around for that to see how you combo the smash attacks. We have arrived at the special attacks portion of the video. These are some really fun moves, and they're actually some of his better moves at that. Let's start. We're going to go in a special order because there's something that I actually want to discuss kind of later on in this part of the video. So we're going to talk about our down special, which is this hammer. As you see, Dedede's face just changed there. I'll show you one more time. Look at his face, kind of tilts his head a little bit. Once that happens, that means the hammer is fully charged, and he will proceed to take about 1.2% for every few frames basically that you keep holding this. This will continue to increase and climb in damage until you reach 100%, and then it will just stop climbing entirely. So be very, very careful. Don't just do that because you'll build up so much percent. But this move, fully charged, is crazy strong. Easy 50% most of the time when I do it. Yep. You can also move around while doing it, which is really nice. And another thing to keep in mind is this move has armor, so if your opponent tries to hit you, you can still swing your big hammer, and even if they hit you, you're still going to power through and hit them anyway. And I'd be willing to bet they don't want to get hit with this as much as you want to get hit with whatever they're trying to swing at you. So you're probably going to win in that regard. And this is what it looks like not fully charged. It's about 31. And this is just regular, 15. We're going to talk about Dedede's up special. This move is good for a few reasons, and I'll explain why. Here's the up B, just normally. He gets good height fairly quickly, and he also comes down. This move is also fairly safe in some aspect. As you watch when he lands, two little stars come out. A lot of people try to catch Dedede on his way down, and what usually happens is they either get hit by the shockwave of him landing, which does percent by itself. I'll try to show you right here. That's just the shockwave that does 15. Or the little stars that come out hit the opponent too, and they do around 6%. So it's a fairly safe landing option, but you can still be punished, so be very, very careful. You can also move while doing it, so you don't have to just come straight down. If you want to do it, you can also go diagonal. Just hold the stick a little bit, and you get some pretty good distance traveled at that too. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but whenever you're playing Dedede, instead of just coming straight down, if you want to grab the edge, you can't really do anything. Once you've ascended to your peak, basically, you can no longer really do anything else. However, if you don't just want to free fall to your death if you're trying to recover, what you can do is you can flick the stick upwards on your controller, your left stick, and what will end up happening is he'll cancel the free fall animation basically. But you have to be super careful when to do this, because if you do this, I think it's too early. What ends up happening is he'll go into free fall and just I'll see if I can do it. I don't know. Usually if he lands on the map, he will be kind of prone for such a long amount of time that your opponent can basically follow up with anything. You're wide open essentially. So it's important to do it. I'll see if I can give you an example. It's important to do it when you know you're not going to grab or something and you can just let go. Or if you think you're going to just fall off the edge and you don't want to. See that? There's the prone position. You have to be careful about that because your opponent can follow up and really hurt you. But this move does incredible amounts of damage, and I even have a few combos with it too. I think I have at least one combo. I might have two though. But it does good damage. It's safe. It does have armor, I believe, on the Ascension. But once you're at your peak, right here, your opponent can hit you. So be very careful. Alright, so now we're going to discuss the two moves that I really want to talk about in tandem. This is Inhale. What this can do is, when your opponent shoots something at you, here, let's get Corn to shoot something at us, just so I can show you. If your opponent shoots something at you, he can then inhale it and spit it right back out. And that also means you can inhale your opponent and shoot them out, and it does about 15%. What I like about it is, if you're playing with a lot of friends or doubles or whatever you're doing really, if you're playing with a lot of people, you can actually absorb your opponent and fire them out, and the star does damage. And usually it's dependent on the size and the weight of your opponent, but usually the bigger characters like Bowser and King K. Rool and them, if you absorb or if you inhale them and spit them out at somebody else, they do a ton of damage and have a ton of knockback. So I believe weight and size do determine how much damage the star will cause if you hit somebody else with them. But it's just a solid kind of get off me move. It's not super safe because your opponent can just hop over you or come down on you, but it's still okay to hit. Now, here's what we're going to talk about, which probably going to take up majority of this part of the video, and that is the Gordo, which is this move right here. I'll see if I can show you. The Gordo. Ooh. Once you've sent out one Gordo, another one will not appear unless you have gotten rid of the other one, basically, or it's off camera. But the reason why I saved these two moves for last was because you can actually inhale your own Gordo. What you do is you just put the Gordo in front of you, inhale it, and spit it out. Gordos can probably be their own character. A lot of people say that King Dedede relies too much on Gordos, that they spam Gordos, that kind of stuff. Like, understand this, if you're really serious about playing King Dedede, people are probably going to shit on you for your Gordos. People do not like dealing with Gordos. I wouldn't say it's the equivalent to Ness's PK Fire or something like that, but this move can definitely cause salt. And despite people saying that you may use Gordos too much, they're incredibly good. They're so versatile and they have so many things they can do. They're good at edge guarding, they're good for combos, they're good for killing. They can do practically everything. So I'm going to kind of go into a little more detail about this part. So with the Gordo, if you want to launch it at your opponent, you just hold side B and just keep that direction and it'll bounce. Now your opponent can reflect a Gordo, so keep that in mind. However, if you send out a Gordo and your opponent reflects it, and you don't have a Gordo already, you can actually catch that Gordo with your side B, kind of like that. You just throw out another side B, and you'll send it right back, or you can inhale it and spit it right back at them too. But just be mindful, because when the Gordo comes back to you, it's usually pretty fast, and it hits really hard. Now, you don't have to send the Gordo directly at your opponent. As you just saw, I kind of bounced it. It's got a very, very strange pattern when it comes to bouncing too, so it makes it very difficult for your opponent to approach at times. It can kind of wall out your opponent. But the way you do that is when you initially throw your Gordo with the side B, what I do is immediately flick the stick kind of diagonal upwards to the area you want to be facing, and it'll just bounce instead of traveling very far. Here's a few more things you can do with the Gordo. If your opponent's off stage, you can always drop a Gordo and have it hit them. It's it's a good way to edge guard, basically. And then you can also angle it towards your opponent like that. A lot of people, including myself, like to stick the Gordos on the edge to edge guard their opponent. Ooh, let me try that again. Oh, you're not gonna work, are you? Anyway, you can stick the Gordo into the map, and what that does is it causes your opponent to, whenever they're trying to recover or come back to map, that Gordo is still there and it'll end up sticking them, and then you can follow up with more damage. And later on, or next actually, I'm going to discuss how you can use the Gordos in combos, and these things can rack up the damage quick. So yeah, I just think that's a solid move. Alright, finally made it to the combo portion of the video, my favorite part of these videos. I'm going to cover about 6 to 7 different combos, and I'm sure you guys already know a few combos with King Dedede, a few of the simple ones. And simple is good, simple works, but I'm going to cover some kind of like off-the-wall combos as well as some simple ones. So the first one we're going to do is one that I wouldn't really consider off-the-wall, but it definitely is a fun one to do. So what you're going to do is, you're going to go for your side B, but you're not going to hit the Gordo into your opponent. You're going to get your hammer to hit the opponent, and then you're going to have this Gordo hit. After that, you're going to go for a grab. You can pummel if you want to. You don't have to. Then you're going to down throw to whatever you want. You could do forward aerial or neutral air or whatever you really want. So let's stop talking about it and I'll show you. As I said before, you're going to have the first initial hit of the hammer swing hit, not the Gordo. Ooh, missed the Gordo entirely though. Kind of need the Gordo to hit for it to actually work. There you go. Easy 50. You could have pummeled and got more, but I didn't want to be greedy. Very simple. Sometimes you can't get the grab if you're not fast enough, but that's okay because usually the second hit of the Gordo will still do around the same amount of percent if you hit the combo anyway. I think the difference is like 5%, but I think it's a pretty saucy combo. The only hard part is finding someone who's actually going to let you hit the initial hit of the hammer. Sometimes I just don't see it coming. So yeah, practice this one. It catches people off guard quite often. It's kind of cool to see. You don't have to do the forward air if you don't want to. You could always go for like a neutral, as I said before, but I'm just more comfortable doing the forward air. So yeah, that's the first combo. One more thing regarding that first combo, if you do not want to go for a down throw into a neutral air or a forward air, you can actually go for a forward throw into the Gordo and still get a pretty good chunk of damage. So I'm going to show that really quick just in case that doesn't make any sense to you guys. Still same setup, still going to hit with the hammer, just ending's a little different basically. So hopefully we can get it our first try. Nope. Nope. There we go. Yeah, 58 damage, easy. Or not super easy, because it's always hard to get that. You can never really tell if you're going to get that grab by the way the Gordo hits, or if you're close enough. But after a while, you start to get like a feel for it. Unless Dedede doesn't grab. There we go. One more time. Yeah. It's basically the same thing. It's gonna give you the same results, the same amount of damage. It's just a different way to do it if you don't want to, sometimes it gets a little bit boring doing the same things over and over again. So it's always nice to know you can change, like interchange parts basically. Anyway, on to the second combo. This second combo is gonna make use of King Dedede's big beefy smash attacks. This one, I wouldn't say it's super difficult to do. It just requires a little bit more timing on your part. It's really only 2 moves, but you're relying on the Gordo to hit twice, and timing of the hammer has to be almost perfect. However, you do have some frames with some leeway, and there is an easier way to do it, which I'll also show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to drop the Gordo on your opponent's head. You're not going to bash it into them from the front. You're not going to hit him in the back with it. You want the Gordo to drop onto your opponent's head, and then you're going to do a forward smash. Simple enough. And make sure whenever you're doing the forward smash, try to wait for the second hit of Gordo, because if you're able to wait out the second hit of Gordo, what's going to end up happening is you can potentially get a 0 to death off this combo, because not only is the Gordo going to lay on around 20 to 35%, but your hammer has potential to kill at that percent, especially on ledge. On ledge, this will kill. But from middle of the stage, probably not. But from where this corner is standing, it shouldn't be that difficult. Anyway, let's get into this. As I said before, drop the Gordo, hit the forward smash. On the head. And just like that. It's very, very smooth. and it's very difficult to hit because of how the Gordo has to bounce, but that's really all it takes. Now, if you have trouble doing that, there is an easier way to do it, because from my experience, when I go for the Gordo, what usually ends up happening is the Gordo will hit, then my hammer will hit, and the Gordo will hit again. And when that happens, the knockback of my hammer is greatly reduced, so it doesn't kill. It still does 60 damage, and 60 damage is good. A lot of characters would love to have a 60 damage combo, but it's not the the devastation that that one combo is if you can manage to hit the combo or the hammer last, which is really good. So if there is another way to do this, it's simply dropping your Gordo just like you did before. And what you do next is you're going to swing for a up smash. This will not kill at 0. It will not, but it will do a good considerable amount of damage anyway if the forward smash isn't working for you. So let's try this out. This one I'm not so great at. I miss it a lot, but I'm going to try to show you guys anyway. There you go. See, 52 damage. Nothing too crazy, but it's really not that difficult. You just have to rely on that second hit of Gordo. And the way you do rely on that, as before, make sure when you drop the Gordo kind of perfectly lands on the head or hits the back of the neck or something of the character you're facing. That's usually the best way. If you're sending the Gordo full on at them like that, you're not going to be able to do this. But other than that, that's the second combo. Okay, for the third combo, we're going to focus on very, very simple, tiny kind of baby combos. This will be multiple combos in one, but I essentially put them together because of just how simple they are to do. And simple is good. You don't need to go for these outlandish, crowd-popping combos all the time, because chances are they're not always going to work all the time. But these will, which is what you want to go for, and they're super simple to do. So I'm probably going to cover about 3 to 5 different setups and combos in this one, in this third combo alone, but I put it all together just because of how quick they are to do. So here we go. First one we're going to talk about, which is, I'm sure you've seen every single DD player do this ever because of how original it is. It's down throw to forward air. It works, it's nice, it's simple. A lot of people, including myself, do like to follow this up with down throw to forward, or they like to follow it up with down tilt after their forward air. It's not true, but it does catch a lot of people slipping sometimes, so it's a nice little kind of surprise move. So I'll show you what that looks like. See, not true, but it's just a little kind of added extra damage. People just aren't ready for it for some reason. It's like they forget DD even has that move. Next one we're going to talk about is our down throw to nair. Make sure when you do this one that you get the first hit of nair. If you get the second hit of nair, you're not really going to do anything. But if you get the full hit of nair, it's a lot of damage. Or not a lot, but it's just more than you would. Okay. After that, we're going to talk about our nair to up tilt. Also another very simple one. Get the full hit, you get more from it. 25 out of just 2 hits. And we even have our nair to F tilt. Very nice, 26%. I believe that's all of them, but I might be wrong. I believe you can also, I don't know if I covered this one already, but I know you can do nair to down tilt too as well for 27%. But other than that, those are very simple. If that was a little fast and confusing, I apologize. I'll try to put some type of, words or buttons or something so you guys can follow along with that one, because that was a little bit quick. I apologize for that. But anyway, those were my third set of combos, basically. I always seem to have one of these combos in all my videos, but it's basically the lose a friend combo. The one that's going to make your friend kind of turn to you and be like, did you really have to do that? You know, it's a little bit disrespectful, but it's really cool. It's definitely a crowd favorite. Essentially, it's just 2 moves, very simple. The only thing that's difficult about it is to get your spacing correctly, because if you don't space properly, it's just not going to work. All you're going to do is you're going to do a Gordo to an up B. You're going to have the Gordo bounce, and then you will follow up with your up B. Now, you're not going to send the Gordo at your opponent. You're not going to fling it at them. You want it to bounce off the floor and stuff. The easiest way to do this combo, to really hit it, because it's difficult to hit it without having some kind of setup for it, is to break your opponent's shield. You can use your down B. This thing is notoriously known for breaking shields. You can use your forward smash, another good option for breaking shields. Just figure out a way to break your opponent's shield, and then walk them over to the ledge like this, just by pushing them. You will then get some distance. Now, if you have trouble picking the distance out, I got good news for you. There are 2 reasons why I chose this map. 1, because I like it, and 2, because of these 2 shrubs right here. If you can manage to put yourself kind of in between these 2 shrubs right here to where you can't see this little gap right here, you see it? Little green gap. If you can put yourself right here, this is actually the distance you're going to need to pull off this combo, which is very nice to have. So when your opponent's over here and their shield's broken, you know, they're going crazy, like, you're going to be over here, do your Gordo, bouncing into up B. So let's try it out. Get your position, get your spacing, bouncing Gordo. Let's try that one more time. I don't think I put her correctly there. Okay. Let me make sure I get there. Okay, one more time. Just like that. And if you don't want to die doing it, the easiest way to do it is as soon as you know you're fixing to hit your opponent, just, you know, tap the up stick. Let's try this one more time. This might not hit her because of the way she's positioned on the ledge, but we'll find out. Ah, I released it too early. One more time. There you go. And we were able to grab ledge and survive as well. And then afterwards, of course, you can do one of these just to, you know, rub some salt in it. But anyway, that's the full combo. Gordo to up B to taunt. This fifth combo is going to make use of what we already know from our third combos. It's basically just going to take some of the smaller steps in theirs and those little mini combos and put together a bigger combo. It's not going to say this is true, but it actually is. It just doesn't recognize it because of the grab that comes in afterwards. But anyway, all we're going to do is we're going to do a nair to grab to down throw, and then you can follow up with whatever you want. Once again, that is nair to grab, down throw, whatever you want. So here's what it's going to look like. I chose to do forward smash. You don't have to. But essentially, it's an easy 35% combo, and it's consistent, which is nice. It's always nice to have a nice, consistent combo to rely on, because at least you know at the end of the day it's always going to work. But you don't have to go for forward air. You could always just go for neutral to another neutral, basically. Or you can even go for up air, I believe. Let me try it out. Never really tried it until I thought about it just now. Yeah, you can follow up with up air. Now, it says they're not true, but the timing is so like specific that it kind of is. The only reason it's saying it's not true is because of the grab. I don't know why the game doesn't account for grab being true, but I bet if I pummel it'll count it. But let's find out. I'm gonna try that one more time. I'm gonna add a pummel in though. No, still didn't do it. Oh well. Well, but that's the combo basically. It's essentially just using your nair, but instead of going for a strike, you're going to end up you're going to go for a grab and then follow up with whatever you really want into the air after your down throw. You don't even have to down throw if you don't want to. You can do a forward throw or up throw, whatever, but I think that down throw is the way to go just because it's the easiest thing to combo into. Just two more combos to cover, and this last, or the last one, is going to be really, really cool. I actually really like it, but this next one is going to make use of what we already know about the Gordo bouncing off the head. As you can see, we have our opponent at 80. That's usually the percent I like to do this at. But we're going to use our down smash. So typically you saw us going for 0 to like 60 damage with our Gordo into forward smash or up smash. This time we're going to do down smash. And down smash actually will have the ability to kill at this percent. So all it is Gordo or jumping Gordo into down smash. We don't even need the second hit of the Gordo. We just need to get the first hit. Very simple. I guess you could go for up smash if you wanted to, but I like doing the down smash a little more, only because if I go for down smash, if my opponent's above me, I could follow them with up air if they don't die from it, but if they're out here, there's so much more I can do to edge guard them, which will lead into our final combo like you just saw there with the Gordo. So yeah, on to the 7th and final combo. For our final combo, I switched Corrin to Captain Falcon because Corrin's recovery makes it incredibly difficult to do this combo on. This combo is definitely heavy reliant on how your opponent typically recovers. If you see them recovering low and there's basically no hitbox, it's just them trying to, approach the edge, this combo is perfect for you. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to knock your opponent off the stage. It doesn't matter how you do it so long as you get them off the stage. And then you're going to go for your side B onto the stage. The Gordo will then stick into the stage, which basically blocks your opponent off from trying to grab ledge. Now, when they attempt to grab ledge, the Gordo will naturally poke them, and it is then up to you to follow up with whatever you want. For me, typically, I go for up B or for down air. Either one spikes, and it's always a really cool kill to get if you can manage to get it. So, let's try it out real quick. Doesn't matter how you get them off the stage, so long as you do. So here we go. I'm going to say that putting the Gordo in is probably the hardest part. and that's it. It looks complicated, but it's really not. Once you see that your opponent's recovering the same way the entire time, it's much more simple. But other than that, that's all of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching everything. I know this was a really long video. I didn't intend for it to be, but it just kind of got out of hand. I kept wanting to show more and more stuff, and unfortunately, I'm pretty sure over the 30-minute mark. But I hope you guys did enjoy, and thank you guys so much for watching.